we've had so far, he's smuggled a bunch of weed. He's probably killed his wife, more than likely killed his wife. So, you know, he's gotten his teenage son into drug trafficking with him.
Not a great man.
Not even close. No. Not even, he hasn't even dipped his toe in the water. Literally, he put his finger in his mouth and held it up to see which way the wind was blowing.
See where the crime was coming from.
That's it. So 1982, early 82, he marries another woman.
What the fuck? This guy can't get enough.
Nope. He marries a woman named Hope, who's the sister of another racer named Hurley Haywood.
All right.
So that's his sister. He needed a quickie Haitian divorce so he could marry this broad. They have a daughter immediately. In 1982, I think another. She's getting big. You better marry her. He has his.
She's getting big.
He's got his 50 sensibility.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll traffic drugs. I'll kill a broad, but if I knock one up, I'll fucking marry her.
I'll marry her.
I will marry her. They have a daughter named Adrian at that point, which is funny because that's when Rocky was really big. It's like Rocky 2 was out back then. You named your kid Adrian.
Name.
I feel like he liked Rocky a lot too. He's like, he make it big.
Why
did I make him shawarma big?
Yeah.
Never mind.
What an ugly name. I hate that name.
April 19th, 1983. Wow. Okay, Jimmy, here's when he really goes off the deep end, and it gets worse from here, but this is the beginning of the craziness. Okay, April 19th, 1983. A man named Stephen Carson, who is a federal witness in an ongoing racketeering and conspiracy drug case, is shot in Crescent Beach, Florida. It's late at night. He comes in from a fishing trip, a midnight fishing trip with a friend. He gets off. He's on like the boat dock, and from what he says, our Mr. John Paul Sr. here accosts him, comes up to him with a gun, and tells him to get in the trunk of his car.
Oh my God!
He's trying to put him in a trunk. So if this crazy son of a bitch is telling you to get in the trunk, you don't get in the fucking trunk.
No.
Okay. The most terrifying man I've ever met. You don't get in his trunk.
No.
So he runs.
Good for him.
He takes off, but there's 5 shots fired at him. He's hit twice and falls down, and then Mr. Paul Sr. here comes up and gives him a 3rd shot while he's down. So he came up for the fucking kill shot.
He's trying to get him.
He's cold-blooded, man.
Yeah.
He's cold-blooded. He does this, and I guess he thinks he killed him. He takes off. It turns out that he did not kill him. Mr. Carson here, Stephen Carson,
son of a bitch.
is a tough son of a bitch. He loses a kidney. He has all sorts of problems and a million surgeries. I mean, he got shot 3 times.
Yeah.
Pretty good, like I said.
Point blank.
Yeah, point blank. And he lost a kidney, like I said. He's a mess, this guy. So he's got problems. So he says, fucking John Paul shot me. I know who shot me. John Paul did. So the authorities look for him. So he is nowhere to be found for 2 months, basically. Since this shooting, he takes off, is gone. Nobody sees him or his wife.
It's a good indicator that he did it.
That's a good indicator that he did it, exactly. He likes to run, this guy. He's done it several times. He's going to do it several more.
And he's got endurance.
Yes. Finally, June 28th, 1983, he turns himself into authorities in St. Augustine, Florida for attempted first-degree murder.
Jesus.
That's rough because it's a federal witness.
Yeah.
It's to shut a fucking witness up.
That's steep.
The witness had given grand jury testimony on drug trafficking in North Florida, which is we're going to get to why that's hilarious in a second. The way he turned himself into was funny. He was at his lawyer's office, Davis Upchurch, which sounds like a very silver-haired middle-aged white man.
No doubt.
He called from there and was like, I'm here and I'll go turn myself in. He goes to they take him to St. Johns County Jail. He pleads not guilty to first-degree murder. Okay, he's been being held on a $500,000 bond, which is pretty serious. We'll get to why he's such an idiot in a minute about the testimony at the grand jury, but that's coming up in a second. Paul Sr. here claims that, I don't know what the hell you're talking about here about this thing. I didn't shoot him. I couldn't have shot him. I was in Miami at the Coconut Grove Hotel having dinner with 2 of my friends when the shooting took place. I was hanging out there drinking, hadn't even a bite to eat at midnight in Miami.
Enjoying South Beach.
Enjoying my money. I don't know what the hell you're talking about here. They don't buy that, obviously. July 8th, 1983, John Sr. here, he posts bond and gets out of jail. They give him bail.
$50,000.
Well, he ends up posting a $250,000 bond, 25 because it's a $500K bond they want. $250,000 bond, $25,000 cash, and the remainder in a promissory note tied to his assets if he doesn't appear.
Oh shit!
So they're not fucking around.
Yeah.
They're like, we want you to show up.
First degree murder.
It's of a federal witness.
Right.
So they're like, we really want you to show up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Love to have a chat with you.
Love to keep you around for later. You know. While this is going on, July 17th, 1983, Paul Jr. is doing well on the racing circuit.
Really?
He wins the Michigan 500.
Wow.
And this is some open wheel shit here because the guys, and I don't know shit about racing, and I know who these people are. That's how famous the second and third place are. Second place is Al Unser.
What?
And third place is Mario Andretti.
And he beat both of them?
He beat both of them and wins the race.
Wow.
So he's an up-and-comer. Paul Jr. here has a quote he said about winning this race. He says, quote, "I've had a pretty dramatic career already. I never expected to be running competitive yet. I figured it would take maybe 2 or 3 years in this kind of racing. But you've got to give my crew a lot of credit." He's a real nice guy. I like how he notes that I've had a dramatic career. I've already had a drug bust.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep my shit together and be cool. You know what I mean?
Congratulations. I don't know if you can put in words what it must feel like to win the first one, to win it under these circumstances, the crash at Indianapolis, the drama on the last lap. What's it feel like right now?
Well, I'm still a little bit in awe right now. I can't really believe I won. Had a really good battle going there with Rick at the end. He tried to block me on the last corner going into 3 there. We come off of Chris Neifel's draft, and I just put it down in the apron and hoped for the best. And I don't know what happened to him. I don't think we touched wheels, though, but I sure thank God for being here. I'd like to say hello to my father. I love you.
A wonderful sentiment by John Paul Jr. The last lap, one of the classic moments in motorsports, as John Paul Jr. proved he really wanted the win and went for it. As he wins, Al Unser comes home.
So, September 16th, 1983, Stephen Carson, the shot federal witness from earlier here, who was shot on the boat ramp, he testifies in a deposition, and he says that he was involved with Paul Sr. with some smuggling in the mid-'70s, but that in this grand jury, Carson never mentioned Paul Sr.'s fucking name.
Oh, so Paul got word that this fucker's
and he
talking
thought he
to
was
the
talking
feds.
about him.
Yep.
And he said, "I never talked about him," and this is in a deposition with the cops who have access to what he said.
He
so
is a scary man.
he didn't say anything about him. He's the most terrifying man ever.
Yeah.
Shot him for nothing, and let's see why he didn't mention his name. Old Stephen Carson, a quote from him. He says, quote, "I didn't mention John Paul's name at all because I was afraid that man might kill me if I did mention his name. I had spoken to my attorney a year or two ago, and I told him that if anything ever happened to me, John Paul would have probably been the man that had done it." So everyone's scared of this guy, scared for their life around him. You know, these
Even
people,
the federal witness
even a
is
federal
so
witness.
again. It's already under protection for the government.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
He
matter.
won't
a
talk
drop.
about it.
Nope. He has
No.
no fucking interest here. So at this point, articles appear. December 13th, 1983. He's got to come back for court here on the 12th. So by the 13th, there's articles out saying that Paul Sr. did not show up for his December 12th court date.
Uh-oh.
He blows it off with a $500,000 bond. Judge Richard Weinberg revokes his bond, his $500,000 bond, and issues a warrant for his arrest, dismisses potential jurors, says, "Fuck this isn't happening. He didn't show up. Now he's fucking coming in." His attorney, Paul Sr.'s attorney, Ed Garland, who's, you could see his silver hair from space. Ed Garland, the attorney to Paul fucking...
Sounds like a guy that wears a bolo tie.
Oh, God, probably. He said, quote, "He has not arrived and he had full notice that the case was on this morning." So he can't protect him here because he has to say, "I told him to show up because that's my ass with the bar. I have to act like I was a lawyer and did the right thing." So he's on his own. Detective Neil Perry of the St. Johns County Sheriff Department said, "We don't know where to look for him." They have no clue where to look for him.
Try the racetrack.
No, we'll find out where he hid out for a little while, and then he went somewhere much more fun. But we'll find out where he hid out for just a little while because it's hilarious. But that's coming up in a little while when they start to do this. Now, when he leaves here, the most money ever, because a $500,000 bond was forfeited, and this is tied to, they're getting $500,000 back here. The largest bond that was ever forfeited in the history of the county previously was $30,000.
So they took a trailer back from somebody.
Yeah, this
is going to be a big fucking undertaking.
This is windfall here for them. December 14th, 1983.
The county's getting a new courthouse.
No shit. Now, the next day, since now he's on the lam, they don't know where he is. He could be anywhere. They start saying the authorities come out and say Stephen Carson, the victim of the shooting here, his testimony is going to be videotaped in this trial, in the attempted murder trial, quote, in case he becomes unavailable.
They already know. He's a dangerous motherfucker.
He's in danger. Dude's out there. Anything could happen. Now, Assistant State Attorney Steve Alexander said, quote, since John Paul allegedly tried to terminate him one time, there is that possibility.
Terminate him.
So we should probably get his shit on tape and get it
I
on
love
tape
that
now.
they used that word.
Yeah, Carson's going to testify on tape later in the week. They're going to get it locked down
Right
then,
now.
and they said that will count just as if he did it in front of a jury, same thing. Now, March 8th, 1984, John Paul Sr., this is 3 months later, John Paul Sr.'s wife, Hope, is charged with perjury and witness tampering.
Oh, shit.
So they're bringing her in now, trying to draw him out.
Yeah.
They're arresting her. She still refuses to give the whereabouts of her husband. She's being held on $500,000 bond, so they're holding her the same as they're holding him. The allegations are that she asked Robert Hamill, a friend of theirs, to lie for John Sr. to the cops about where he was the night of the shooting. Basically, he's one of the Coconut Grove Hotel friends in Miami. So that goes on for a few months. They keep her until July 27th. So she's held for a while. They finally are like, fuck it, he's not coming out. It's not up to them. It's up to a judge. Hope Paul here is cleared of perjury and witness tampering charges. The charges are dismissed by Judge Richard Watson, citing insufficient evidence to present to the 6-person panel about it.
Yeah.
They just don't have evidence that she did it. The guy said she didn't tell me to lie. She said I didn't tell him to lie. What are they going to do?
Their word versus hers.
And they don't have any proof of anything.
Right.
So
There's no videotape. There's no audio tape.
So now October 17th, 1984, Paul Sr. hasn't been seen in a while now. He's on the fucking lam for, a few months now.
How does he do it?
He's indicted on 17 counts of money laundering.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, U.S. Attorney Jim Fagan said he was laundering profits from drug trafficking, obviously. So January 11th, 1985, John Paul Sr., still missing, is arrested. Where do you think he got arrested, Jimmy?
I'm going to guess Mexico.
Mexico, what do you figure maybe like...
Jamaica. Bermuda.
Some backwoods, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
He's in in
a bunker
Georgia
somewhere.
No, he's in Geneva, Switzerland. He goes...
How the fuck did he get there?
He goes hard when he goes. He doesn't mess around.
When he runs, he runs.
He's arrested there. They have an extradition warrant here, obviously, for him. He's also going to face charges in in Switzerland of bank fraud. That's how they arrested him there, because he did something stupid.
I hope he was wearing like lederhosen or some shit, some weird fucking
some traditional garb. January
wooden clogs and shit.
Jesus Christ. I think that's Holland, all right. January 16th, 1985, he's indicted in Jacksonville, Florida now. They're still indicting him. He's still overseas. They're indicting him because now they know where he is.
Yeah.
So they indict him more. On racketeering charges, they indict 5 other men with him, including a man named David J. Casorla, who comes up later, and also
dangerous.
Paul Jr. is named in this indictment.
Oh, no.
Charges of the drug smuggling operation. I feel so bad for Paul
Damn
Jr.
It, Paul.
He's doing great for himself, and he's back into
You
this
just
shit.
beat out Bouncer.
Yeah.
You just beat Mario Andretti, and now you're fucking rocked up on charges.
They say they smuggled in at least 200,000 pounds of marijuana from Colombia into Louisiana and Florida over the years. And that's probably what they did. They probably did way more than that.
Yeah.
They claim over 200,000 pounds from 75 to 1981, which they way more than that, I would assume, if you're doing that. Now.
They got caught one night with 1,500.
The next day, that's what I mean.
Pretty easy in 5 years to get.
The next day, an article comes out about what the cops discovered on an old property that he had and where he was hiding out before he went to Switzerland. January 17th here comes out, a large underground cavern is discovered.
He's got a bunker.
In Corinth, in an Atlanta suburb. It is on a farm that he bought. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation were suspicious starting in March 1983 when a Netherlands-based corporation bought the 600-acre property.
There's where the bank fraud comes in.
No, that's something different in
Really?
Switzerland. We'll get to that. Basically, you'd go in through the barn, and there was a trap door, and you'd go down a shaft.
Wow.
You'd climb down, and there was a 25-foot tunnel underground leading to a 200-foot by 40-foot room. That's a big room. 200 feet's a big fucking room.
Is that 8,000 square feet?
It's a big room.
That's 8,000 square feet.
It's a big. I don't know how square footage is measured, but
40
it's not.
times
It's more than
200.
800. It's got to be. So yeah.
40 times 200.
Yeah, that's
huge.
That's a big room.
Yeah.
It's a grow operation.
Yeah.
They find $40,000 worth of grow lights to grow marijuana. They find a $40,000 generator to provide power to the grow lights. There's an unnamed source that says they knew about
Who
this
is he,
whole
El
thing.
Chapo?
he had tanks of diesel. They had full giant gas tanks under the cavern that for the generators.
Right.
So they were. It's insane that they were buried under that. The cave was supported by steel I-beams, and then it had sheet metal and plastic over it and buried. And everybody said, like, once grass grew over it, you'd never know you were walking on anything.
Wow.
You have no idea. It was just, they buried it. Cost an extra estimated $350,000 to build it.
Wow.
Yeah, they said that Paul and co-defendant Christopher Schill, who, if you remember, was the fella who got busted with taking the equipment on, putting it on the pickup truck with Junior there in Louisiana on the bayou. They found it because the property is foreclosed on once he went on the lam, and then it was bought again by the original owner, and there was
and the owner went into the barn and was like, "What's down here?
What's down here?"
Yeah.
And then, wow, holy shit!
Smells like weed in here.
Yeah. So basically, they think they have evidence that he was living down there for a while. He just went and hid in the cavern, and then he takes off to Switzerland.
What evidence? Like,
they estimated he could grow $4 million worth of weed a year in there, and that's 1985
holy
weed.
shit!
$4 million worth of weed in '85 is a lot of fucking weed.
You can grow that underground.
You can
That's
grow that
crazy.
underground. He had the whole thing. Nothing was growing at the time of the discovery. They think it had been abandoned since like January '84, basically when it was foreclosed on. Where he hid out down there. Now, June 17th, '85, Charles Evers. This is interesting. One of the guys who was indicted in that recent one with Paul Jr., with John Jr., is caught on a sailboat. He's a wanted man because he was indicted. The Coast Guard officers intercept his boat between Haiti and Cuba. So he's out there just sailing like fucking, like a pirate. He thinks he's Jack Sparrow out there, and they're picking him up, going, no, not so fast, asshole, get back here. What do you think you're doing? So August 1985, John Paul Jr. here pleads guilty to racketeering charges and possessing a false passport. This is in the indictment that John Sr. was named in and all that. So he gets that. His sentencing is going to come later, but he pleads guilty to that to get a low sentence. He's trying to not get jail time for this because he's turned his life around. He hasn't touched weed. He's been good for 5 years. And he really has been good for 5 years.
He's staying out of it.
He's been good. So November 20th, 1985, the Swiss government orders the extradition of John Paul Sr. to the U.S. for the federal drug charges and the murder charges also. Attempted murder. There's going to be a slight delay in getting him over here because there's also the fraud charges filed against him in Switzerland. A federal prosecutor said, I understand he faces some type of bank fraud charges in Switzerland, so we're going to have to wait for him, which is amazing. January 15th, 1986. John Paul Sr. is found guilty in Switzerland of possessing a false passport. He's sentenced to 6 months in jail. Paul is...
that gives him plenty of time to rock him up here now.
Well, he's acquitted of fraud in connection. Basically, he purchased 2,331 South African gold coins and then deposited them in a Swiss bank using a false passport.
That's where
so they
the
said
fraud
that
is.
He didn't do anything fraudulent with the money part, just the passport.
It's
so
just
they
who
get
the
him
fuck
there.
he is.
He's sentenced to 6 months, but since he's been in custody forever, for 10 months or something, he's been in custody. He goes to jail for 10 days and it's time served, and they kick his ass back to here. His lawyer is promising still to try to fight the extradition charge, the extradition warrant. He's saying that he's taking it to. He filed an appeal with the Swiss Federal Tribunal, which, from what I understand, is the equivalent of their Supreme Court. They oversee all the watches and chocolate in the land, and they make sure it's
watches and chocolate.
They just make sure all the chocolate is nice and sweet, and the watches run perfectly. That's their job. I don't know what else happens.
As long as they are crisp and tick.
All of the snow globes come out nicely and have a mountain in the middle. So June 29th, 1986, Paul Sr.
Is that also where IKEA is from?
Switzerland.
Oh, Sweden.
They're Sweden.
I thought they were Switzerland.
Maybe it might be Switzerland. I don't fucking know. I hate
I'll Google. Keep going.
Furniture. So Paul Sr. March 29th.
Hate furniture.
Other things. So March 29th, 86, Paul Sr. is returned to the U.S. to face his attempted murder and federal drug charges. He's flown into Jacksonville International Airport. That's some highfalutin shit. Hey, look, it's Jacksonville International. Jacksonville shouldn't have an international.
No.
He's under heavy security when he returns.
I think you have to say, legally, you have to say it with an accent. It's not Jacksonville. There's no Jacksonville. It's Jacksonville.
Ugh, no, thank
Jacksonville.
you. It's no offense to the southern accent, but I can't.
That is the most hillbilly fucking place. My dad's from there. That's why.
Perfect. So you know these things. You know how they operate.
Everything's covered in fucking gator. Go on.
St. Johns County Sheriff Neil Perry says, we consider him to be a dangerous individual, a high escape risk, and also could easily be the target of some people who do not want him to testify against them. So he's under heavy
about
security.
to get great.
Yeah. May 7th, 1986 is sentencing day for John Paul Jr.
Oh, no.
He receives 5 years in federal prison.
Ouch.
That is brutal, man. Part of the agreement, though, he does not, this is where they got him.
How old is he at this point?
26.
Oh, my God.
He could have gotten slightly less time, I feel like, here, but part of the agreement is he does not have to testify against his father if there's a trial.
That's nice.
So that's, I think that was part of what he wanted, was not to have to testify. Judge Susan Black denied a request to delay sentencing on Junior. He wanted to delay sentencing till after May 25th, which is 3 weeks from then, so he could race in the Indianapolis 500. And Susan
Chasing
Black
that
said,
dream.
go fuck yourself. You're going to prison instead. Yeah. He also receives 5 years probation on top of that. For when he gets out. He'd been doing anti-drug work with kids. He was basically trying to inoculate himself against this from the time it happened.
Right.
He went straight to making speeches to kids, just preemptive attack on, he starts making speeches to the kids and just making it.
Fixing his character.
Yeah, he's doing it. That way he can go to the judge and say, for the last 2 years, actually, I've been doing this and this and this, and my life's completely turned around, and I'm doing it. That's what he said. And he did, too. Said he had an 18-month-old daughter. He's he's trying to have a new life. Michael Andretti, who's the next generation Andretti, said about him, quote, "It's a shame, a real shame. He's a nice guy and he was just going along with that. He was just going along with his father. He was awfully young when all that happened."
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
he's basically saying he was like 18 years old and he was under his father's control. What the fuck do you want out of this kid?
Doing what he was raised
What do you want
in.
out of him? His father told him to help him.
Right.
He said, "Hey, you want to race? You want to have all this shit in a nice house and all this?
This is how we make the money for that.
This is how we do it. I'm smart. I went to Harvard. Get in the fucking boat.
Right.
Drive the pickup truck."
Fucking
So, May 20th, 1986, John Sr. rejects a plea deal for the attempted murder of Stephen Carson. They try to do the plea deal with him. He says no. Trial's set to begin June 9th. So June 4th comes up, and he pleads guilty now to attempted first-degree murder in St. Augustine here. This is a state charge. He still faces the federal charge of running a continuing criminal enterprise. Agreement is for no more than 20 years on this charge. Any sentence from the federal charge is to run concurrent with this sentence, too.
Okay.
So that's his deal. He's trying to get out of it. Assistant State Attorney Stephen Alexander, again, said of St. Johns County will get $517,000, which is $17,000 in interest plus the $500,000 they owe him. U.S. Justice Department confiscated $175,000 cash on him when they arrested him overseas, so they're going to give that to the county to start his restitution. And he could have faced life for the Carson case, attempted first-degree murder of a witness. So he's going to get 20. That's the minimum. That's what whatever. So state agrees to drop the attempted kidnapping, use of a firearm after conviction of a felony because of the weed thing, and failure to appear for trial. They drop all that. The prosecutor says, quote, he has bigger and better things waiting for him in Jacksonville, talking about a federal criminal conspiracy trial,
no
which
doubt.
is like RICO shit. Paul's attorney, Ed Garland, is back again. He's a silver-haired, middle-aged attorney here, says,
speaking through his bowl of tie.
This is the ultimate no shit quote here. Quote, he is desirous of disposing of these problems and paying the price for his conduct. We feel it is a severe punishment, but it is his expressed desire to get his problems behind him. He just wants to get behind all this attempted murder stuff. He's good now. So, Richard Weinberg is the judge. He delays sentencing until after the federal charge comes down because he wants to figure out how that works. January 21st, 1987, John Paul Sr. pleads innocent to 10 federal racketeering and conspiracy charges. This is the federal thing here. It's officially coming out.
And he's pleading not guilty to that.
He's pleading not guilty. For leverage.
For now, right.
March 3rd, 1987, he agrees to a plea deal in the federal drug charge. No deal details yet. They hadn't really struck one. He just said, I'll plead to something.
Yeah.
Now, he does this, I think, to buy some time because he does one of the stupidest things ever on March 10th, 1987. This is stupid. This is a Harvard graduate.
I love how excited you are about how dumb he is.
Well, this is a Harvard graduate.
Yeah.
This is a man who should fucking know better than most of this shit.
Right.
Especially what he's going to do. March 10th, 1987, at the Baker County Jail, 9:40 a.m., Paul and another inmate, a guy named Gary Wayne Fowler, who sounds like a redneck child molester.
Shit,
You don't hang
yes.
out with that guy.
Yeah.
They try to escape.
Oh, God.
What they do is they make a mixture of hot sauce, black pepper, pine sol, and hot water, and put it in a shampoo bottle and spray it at a guard in his face. And then they make a break for the fence. There's a 12-foot fence. As they're climbing it, the guard bucks a couple of shots off to scare them, and they surrender. Later on, they surrender like, oh, never mind. Later on...
We were just kidding. We was just fooling about.
Sorry, our bad.
Yeah.
So,
How your eyes?
I'm good now. Really. So the authorities also find a stolen truck with the keys in the ignition right outside the fence where they were climbing. So they had outside help in this deal. He's got money. Who knows?
He just didn't count on the guard being armed.
He didn't count on the guard. I guess he thought it was going to be like sulfuric acid.
Yeah.
His face would melt off. It's fucking hot pepper. It's not. It's going to go, that
not big of a
stings.
deal.
Hey, come back. Pow.
Hey, you bastard.
That's it. So U.S. Attorney Tom Morris said, if it is indeed a legitimate escape attempt, it will change or eliminate any offer the government might make. We ordinarily prosecute escapes.
Yeah.
No shit, right? So March 10th, 1987, same day here, Paul's attorney, Janice Singer, said, oh no, like it's fine. He said, oh no, these things are still being negotiated, and hopefully in a few weeks everything will be worked out. Like this didn't even happen. She said she's confident the authorities are mistaken about the whole thing. Fine. He's fine. Not only have you ruined your life, now you're hilarious.
Fowler should have said to him, dude, shampoo and hot sauce isn't going to do it.
For real, dude?
Yeah.
This is how low you've... I thought you were a genius.
I thought you were a genius.
What happened? What happened, bro? Seriously. Honestly.
The shampoo is going to moisturize his face.
So April 24th, 1987, a federal judge is sick and tired of this bullshit of him not reaching a plea agreement, basically going back and forth. And he says, we're having a trial May 13th.
Nice.
If you don't have a plea agreement by then, that's what's going to happen. So May 3rd, they come up with something after 2 months of negotiating.
That'll hasten it.
That hastened it quick. Yeah, that was good. He pleads guilty to operating a continuing criminal conspiracy, tax evasion, and conspiracy to obtain a false passport. Faces a maximum of 25 years plus 120 grand in fines. Also forfeiture of his yacht, Mercedes, and of course the money he had when they got him, 175 grand. So he's paying that shit back.
Yeah.
The criminal conspiracy charge could carry a life sentence in prison without the deal. So it was smart to plea probably for him.
That's deep.
Prosecutors are recommending 15 years without parole for that charge alone, and then whatever from the other. The tax evasion comes from 1979, when the government claims he made over $1 million, but only claimed $67,000.
They didn't want to fucking stop.
So,
they want to get him until he can't get out.
They have a couple in their own words on this, which are great. August 8th, 1987 is the sentencing for him now. Now, he is repeatedly asking for leniency based on he's saying the government's claims are bullshit. But if you make a deal, you're kind of saying,
mercy.
I don't want to go to trial and argue their case.
You're at their mercy.
So he's on here, in their own words, what he says in open court, which is great. We've never had a criminal, in their own words, like an athlete, start out with this sentence ever. There's 3 words that none of them have ever used, I think, in this first sentence. Quote, in their own words, it's principally a matter of volume. You just can't get 80,000 pounds on a 70-foot boat. So we've never had a guy say, it's principally a matter of volume. That is never a sentence that is...
That's a Harvard statement.
Principally a matter of volume. Then he's begging for leniency. There's also letters of support from his children, blah, blah, blah. He says, in their own words to the judge, quote, for the last 2.5 years, I've had a lot of time to think and to reflect on the mistakes I've made. I am hopeful I can still make a contribution to my family and to society.
All right. I'm good now.
You have a dead wife.
Yeah.
I'm good
Where
now.
Where the fuck is she?
I'm good now.
Yeah.
Where is she? Where the fuck is she? Yeah. He's given 15 years with no parole for the criminal enterprise charge, plus $100,000 fine. Also 5 years each for the counts of tax evasion and false passport, for a grand total of 25 years, $100,000 fine. You, sir, may fuck off.
No doubt.
Wow.
And that's to run concurrent with the 20 before.
Yeah.
So they
you're
just
going
gave
to
him
fucking
another
jail.
5.
You're going to jail for a while. You're not. This isn't any fucking
That's
5-year. You'll be out soon.
And
type
no
of shit.
parole.
No parole.
You're
for 50
doing the
cents.
25.
He's not doing the 25. It's 15 with no parole, but there's also.
Oh, okay, I got you.
We'll get
so
to what
15
happens.
and then 10 years parole can be happening.
Yeah, so basically, and also too, at this point, the attorney is still trying to work out a deal for the attempted escape. They're still trying to.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, come on,
That's
let's
so
just
good. Yeah.
ball this up.
Can we just wash that?
At this point, Jesus Christ, he's gotten his son in trouble. His son's in federal prison because of him. He has blown an immigrant's dream, broke Joyce's heart.
Blown an enormous amount of money.
Enormous amount of money. Killed his wife.
There's a disappearance that we haven't dealt with. Yeah,
wife,
she's
shot
gotta
a
be
federal
dead.
witness
Yeah.
who's got no kidney now. He's got problems.
He's got all
this.
kinds of buddies that he wrapped up in all this that have gone to jail.
I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy. So now he sits in prison.
Yeah.
He's in prison now. John Jr. is released in February of '89 from prison.
Okay.
And everybody in the race game, everybody was like, he was a fucking kid and his father was an asshole. They all know his father, what an overbearing asshole he was. They're like, he didn't do anything wrong, whatever. So they allow him back into racing. In 1989, he's in the Indianapolis 500.
Awesome.
He gets to actually run in the race, which is awesome. And his dad gets to sit in fucking jail.
He didn't win
for
it.
a while. So his dad sits in jail through the 90s until 1999 when they release him on parole.
What?
Released on parole. He's going to start a new life.
Yeah.
I am good now.
Yeah.
I'm good now. Right? Everybody's good? Okay. Early 2000. He just gets out of jail. A woman named Colleen Wood enters the picture. She answers a personal ad of a man that's seeking a sailing companion.
Oh, Jesus.
What do you think that is? She's impressed with his Harvard education and race car driving past. Who do you think this fella is that's looking for a companion?
She had Google, damn it.
She had Google. That's what I mean.
Known.
This is Google. They have a huge romance. They say they're in love, blah, blah, blah. They make plans to sail around the world together on his 55-foot schooner called Island Girl is the name of it. John convinces Colleen to sell her condo and personal belongings because they're sailing around the world. What the hell do you need your condo for? Colleen gives him $43,000 for the trip, is what the initial was. December 3rd, 2000. This is bad when it starts getting broken down into days. You know it's bad.
Yeah.
Colleen calls her son in Ohio and lets her know that they're going to be leaving soon to set sail, and she's going to call him soon, and they'll talk more about it. She'll tell him their plans. They're in Key West at the time, Colleen and John. They're in Key West. Now, December 13th, 10 days later, 2000, a former co-worker of Colleen named Maureen Canada, which just sounds an odd name. Hi, I'm Maureen Canada. Sounds like a made-up name.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like an alias.
Yeah. She gets a hold of Colleen and asks her to attend a Christmas party. I guess she's an old coworker. She says, yeah, everybody's going to be there. Come to this Christmas party before you leave.
Yeah.
She says, great, I'll be there, Colleen does. So a few weeks pass, no word from her. The son, Michael, doesn't hear from her. Maureen Canada doesn't hear a goddamn word. Michael calls the police, but there's no evidence of any crime. So like, what are we going to do? We have nothing we can do. She's an adult.
Find her.
She's an adult. She can do what she wants. She said she was going to sail around the world. Maybe she took off early. Like, what are we going to send the dogs out after her? So Michael tracks down Paul's daughter. Now, John Paul Jr.'s daughter, Adrian, tracks her down. She tells Michael, the son, that her father told her that Colleen ended the relationship after an argument about an ex-girlfriend that he had. So then a month
Maybe
later,
it's the ex-girlfriend that disappeared.
maybe that would cause an argument.
Yeah.
So a month later, John Paul Sr. here calls Michael because he knows he's trying to calm him down because he's that big of a sociopath.
Yeah.
He thinks he can make it
He's
cool.
got to cover his tracks.
He tells him that they had an argument and he doesn't remember what it was about, and that Colleen left and came back later in the day with her football player, big giant boyfriend, and took all of her belongings, and he hasn't seen her since. That's his story.
I feel like the son doesn't know anything about a football player.
No. So now there's two conflicting stories from this camp. So Michael goes back to the police and says, look, I go to these people. They give me two different stories. I haven't heard from my mother. She usually calls me. Fucking look into this, please.
Yeah.
So the police look into it. They find that Colleen, there was over 80 ATM advances in the time after she was missing in December for worth over $40,000. They see on the surveillance camera that it's a woman taking the money, but not Colleen.
Yeah.
It's not John Paul Sr., obviously. The police tracked down the women that were taking out the advances, and they just said that some guy they don't know paid them a percentage of what they withdrew to withdraw the money. He knew about the cameras, and was like, you go up there and do it, and I'll take the cash, right? And also, they're suspicious because on December 16th, 3 days after that phone call from the Maureen Canada, two ads are placed in the same magazine or same place that Colleen found his ad. one of which stating that he's looking for a first mate for sailing, and another one stating that in the man-seeking women section. So he put ads out again, so she's not around anymore. So police contact Paul Sr. Let's have a little chat with this guy. He tells them that they had a fight over money that she owed him, and she made no attempt to repay him, and she took off. That's what he tells police. Police are suspicious of him. They said he's acting nervous and evasive and showed no compassion for a woman he's supposed to be in love with, and was completely missing. But there's no physical evidence. There's no evidence of anything.
There's evidence that he robbed her.
But there's they don't know evidence he robbed her.
Yeah.
It could have been anybody. So, I mean, at this point, they have no evidence. They just go shrug their shoulders and leave him on his boat and go home.
Yeah.
What else are they going to do? Days later, they're like, well, let's see what's going on with this guy. Let's look into him a little bit. And they figure out, oh, yeah, he's on parole for attempted murder and a conspiracy, and his other wife from 1981 was missing off a goddamn boat.
Right.
Let's look further into this. So they go back to, this is like Kaiser Soze here.
Good.
This is a complete Chaz Palminteri coming back into the office, and no one's sitting there anymore. And you see, Kevin Spacey's going down the street. That's what happened here, because he is gone. They go back to where he was docked. He is not there anymore. He's fucking gone. No one's seen him. He's gone. He leaves the U.S. He's out of the country. He changes the boat's name from Island Girl to Diamond Girl. It's been because he's been seen other places. He is not officially a suspect, but he's still wanted for questioning. This is 16 years later now. He's still wanted for questioning. Also wanted for violating his parole, for leaving the goddamn country. He's not allowed to do that at all. He's been spotted in Fiji.
He's still on the loose?
He's still on the lam, guys.
Wow.
He's been spotted on his boat. That's how they knew about the name change in the Fiji area. And the latest sighting of him and where he's thought to be is in Thailand.
Oh, Jesus.
Living in southern Thailand.
With the lady boys.
People say he works at a dive shop and has some Thai wife that I'm sure he'll kill on a boat.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the thing. If you have any info on John, if you run across him, please call the Fort Lauderdale Police Department at 954-828-5512, because they're still fucking looking for him.
That's amazing.
The federal government wants him for that. John Jr. in 2001 had to retire from racing due to the effects of Huntington's disease, which is a genetic disorder that causes degeneration of certain brain cells. It's similar to Alzheimer's. It breaks you down physically, mentally, cognitively. It's a genetic disorder. John's grandmother also had it. So he's slowly falling apart. I believe so. He's slowly falling apart now. That's why Joyce was so boring. Maybe she was carrying a horrible
carrying a gene that's killing her.
So this poor goddamn Paul Jr. has gotten the shaft. Meanwhile, his dad's living it up
in Thailand
after killing 2 women and shooting a federal witness and all this. I mean, this guy gets away with everything. Now, if you love this guy and can't get enough of him, feel free to buy his models of the cars he ran in. His second place Daytona 1980 car is a Porsche 935, that model, and they also have the 1982 Daytona Winner 935 model. They're $47.50 each. You can get them either pre-built or you can build them yourself.
Jesus.
And
build it with your kid. Do something.
If you want to follow the case of Chalice Paul, the original dead wife, because that goes on. They're looking hard for her. There's a big online surge. You can follow at Chalice Paul on Twitter.
All right.
CHALICE Paul on Twitter. And there's all sorts of updates on that. And hey, if she ever fucking emerges from the depths, maybe she'll...
That's so sad.
She'll post on Twitter. Maybe she'll be a funny tweeter. We'll see.
Fun.
But thank you guys so much. God damn it. Live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.